Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Good morning, everybody. I am Sawsan bin Masood, your colleague from the Royal Commission of Jubail. I would like to welcome everyone that is attending today in this gathering, either by coming here in person or attending via teleconference. First and foremost, I would like to be allowed to extend my gratitude to our organization and to those in charge, represented by His Excellency, the President of the Royal Commission of Jubail and Yumbar, Khalid al-Salim, for their keenness in providing everything in their capacity to develop the employees of the sectors as well as support them in the fields to achieve both their personal ambition as well as meet the aspirations of the Royal Commission for Jubail and Yumbar, so we can all contribute in the advancement of our beloved country through achieving the goals of 2030. I would also like to thank those in charge of Tmkeen program, especially ITHRAء initiative, for their efforts in arranging this event today, and I guarantee you will enjoy and benefit from. The timing of this event falls in the same week we celebrate our Foundation Day, a day we all cherish and express our unparalleled love, loyalty, and devotion to our beloved country. We are also grateful to have our guest speaker today, who I honestly believe if I would run out of time if I were to list his accomplishments and merits. Today we have with us Dr. Márshal Goldsmith. Dr. Goldsmith is a New York #1 best-selling author that has written and edited 51 books that have sold over 3 million copies and been translated to 32 languages. His books have become bestsellers in 12 countries. Amazon recently recognized the 100 best leadership and success books ever written and included Dr. Marshal's books Triggers and What Got You Here Won't Get You There. He's the only living author with 2 books on that list. He was chosen as the Only Thinkers 50, #1 leadership, Only Thinkers 50 2 times, #1. He was also the leadership thinker, #1 leadership thinker in the world, or #1 executive coach in the world for 10 years. Okay, the list goes on. I have more. He was chosen as Harvard Business Review #1 leadership thinker. Business Week also chose him as one of the 50 great leaders in America, and he is one of a select few that that has coached over 200 major CEOs and their management teams. So Dr. Goldsmith today will be sharing his insights on certain aspects that can contribute, if processed and applied, to becoming a better version of ourselves. So thank you, Dr. Goldsmith.
Turn it on. Yeah, I went to engineering school, but I'm not an engineer. Let me start over. My name is Márshal. I'm from a small town called Valley Station, Kentucky. I went to a little engineering school, Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. I got an MBA at Indiana University and a PhD at UCLA. I was a college professor and dean for a little bit, and then for the next 45 years, I did 3 things. One is I traveled all about the world speaking and teaching. So I've been to 102 countries, and on the American Airlines alone, I have over 11 million frequent flying miles. So I'm a mega traveler. Have any of you seen a movie before called Up in the Air with George Clooney? Have you seen this movie? You've seen the movie. In the movie, a man is trying to get a little card. I have the card. This frequently happens to me with the card. I show it to people. They say the same thing. You look exactly like George Clooney. So frequently confused with George. So the first thing I do is speaking and teaching, which I enjoy the most. The second thing I do, which I'm most famous for, is I coach executives. So I've been the coach of 5 CEOs of CEOs of the year in the United States. I've been the coach of the CEO of Ford and Pfizer and Glaxo, World Bank, Mayo Clinic, St. Jude's Hospital, all kinds of wonderful people. And here I have the privilege of working with this fellow over here, right? So I have the privilege of coaching a couple of the ministers here and Minister Bandar. So I really have enjoyed my work here. So it's a great deal of fun. What I love about coaching is I learn so much. In theory, I'm supposed to teach all these people, but in practice, I learn much more than I teach. Then the next thing I do is, as was mentioned, I write and edit books and articles. So I have written, as said, 51 books, 7 bestsellers, 4 New York Times bestsellers, and 44 of my books were purchased only by my mother, my father, and my relatives. So most of the books nobody bought, but a few of the books a lot of people bought. Now, anything else about me? I've been married 48 years. My wife, Lydia, is a psychologist. We live in Rancho Santa Fe, California for 30 years. We just moved. So for the last year and a half, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. Your children might be impressed with my neighbors. One of my neighbors is Keith Urban, the famous country star. His wife is more famous. His wife is Nicole Kidman. So Nicole Kidman is my neighbor. Your children will not be so impressed with her. My neighbor across the street, though, is Taylor Swift. So how many of you have kids who know who Taylor Swift is? Yes, yeah. So I'm sure they all know who she is. She's a famous star. So she's my neighbor. And then anything else? Let's see. I have a daughter. She's a professor at Vanderbilt, chairman of the marketing department. A couple of grandkids, and my son's an entrepreneur. So life is good. Now today, I'd like today for the people who are here to be somewhat interactive. And for the people who are online, we have about 150 people online. Today is going to be a day for you to practice and think. But for the people here, I want you to have a little interaction. So what we're going to do is I'm going to have everyone stand up. I want you to look around the room, find someone you do not know very well, and sit next to that person. Go! Stand up. Find someone you don't know very well. And by the way, sit in this middle part. Come on. Find a partner. Let's go. Go, go, go. Find a new partner. And sit by your new partner. Okay, everybody find a partner and sit. Okay. This way, this way. Don't sit in over here. Okay. Find your partner and sit by your partner. Okay, sit. Everybody sit by your partner. Now, for those of you who are here in the room, we're going to practice something called peer coaching. For those of you who are online, I'm going to have you think about these things as we discuss them. Now, in peer coaching, you are not here to judge your partner. You are not here to critique your partner, and you're not here to put your partner down. You're here to help your partner. I want you to shake hands with your partner and say, partner, my name is, I'm here to help. Go, shake hands with your partner. Shake hands. Yes, here to help. Very good. Very, very good. Now, let us, anything else? I give all my material away. All my material is online. You may copy, share, download, duplicate, use in charity, any way you wish. And I'm working on a very exciting new project, my artificial intelligence project, Marbot. So there's a, yes, Marbot, it's coming. There's a company called Fractal Analytics, an AI company. They're investing millions of dollars in Marbot. So what's going to happen is, hopefully, I'm teaching Marbot everything I know. So tomorrow is going to be basically most of the day is I'm answering questions and helping Marbot, and I'm training Marbot. So the goal is within 1 year, if you do a Zoom call, it may or may not be me. Because Marbot will look exactly like me, sound exactly like me, scratch his head, everything. So we are training a video bot right now, which is very, very exciting. And for me, it's perfect. And the company is doing this not to make money. They're going to give it all away. They're just doing it to show off their technology, basically. But for me, it's perfect because I'm almost 74. I'm going to give everything away anyway. So my theory is, as I grow older, my level of knowledge is going to go, but Marshall bot. So it won't be too long before I'm asking questions to Marshall bot. So that's my new project. Yeah. I love getting emails. Send me an email, marshall@marshallgoldsmith.com. And if you want to go to my website, www.marshallgoldsmith.com. And if you're ever in Nashville, I always invite everyone to go for a walk. So Minister Bandar is coming to Nashville to visit. So if you're ever in Nashville, I invite everyone to come for a walk. So just let me know. I take a walk every day. And if I'm in town, I would be happy to invite you over. What are we going to do today? Number one, today is a little bit different. Today's goal is predominantly focused on help you have a better life. We talked about this in planning the program. A lot of my work is trying to help you be more effective or efficient or all that. Not so much today. The message I got today was this is about you having a good life. A good life, so I hope what I teach you today helps you have just a little bit better life. As I've grown older, my level of aspiration in life has actually gone down and down and down. My level of impact's gone up and up and up. Why? I quit worrying about what I'm not going to change. Just focus on what I am going to change. So today's goal is very simple and really more personal. Help you have a good life. Help you have a good life. Now, does anyone object to this goal? No. This is a very good goal. This is a very good goal. Now, let's get started. We're going to do something called the heroes exercise. I'm going to talk about aligning your higher aspirations, ambitions, and actions, the importance of credibility, how to build credibility, empathy. I'm going to teach you something called daily questions. Now, we may or may not get to the last part, but the daily question part takes 3 minutes a day, costs nothing, and will help you get better at almost anything. And half the people quit in 2 weeks. And they don't quit because it doesn't work. They quit because it does work. Everything I'm going to teach you is very easy to understand. Nothing I'm going to teach you is easy to do. My clients are very smart people. They're very smart people. They don't have any problem understanding what I say. The problem is not understanding it. The problem is doing it. This stuff is hard to do. It takes a lot of courage to do these things. Now, we're going to begin with something called a heroes exercise. This exercise changed my life in a very positive way. About 1/3 of my life today has been shaped by this exercise. So this exercise completely changed my life. How does this work? I want you to think about 2 people who are heroes in your life. So whether you're here or whether you're online, I want you to think about 2 people who are your heroes. One could be a fictional or historic character, but I want one person you think of who is alive and you can personally contact. And then I'm going to ask you a question. Oh, and by the way, don't look for perfect heroes. There's no such thing as a perfect person. I did this exercise, and many of my heroes were flawed. I'm flawed. We're all flawed. We're all just humans here. On the other hand, don't look for some perfect person. Just look for somebody you think, you know, my life is better because I met this person. This person made a positive difference in my life. And in many ways, this person is a hero to me. Not in every way. Now, my heroes were great teachers. People like the famous Peter Drucker, Warren Bennis, Francis Hesselbein, wonderful teachers. They were very kind and generous to me. And I thought, wow, these are great people. These are heroes to me. The woman who taught me this said, you should be more like your heroes. That's what led me to try to give everything away in the same way they gave things to me. So you should be like these people who are heroes to you. Well, after that, I decided to adopt 15 people, teach them all I know for free. And the only price is when they got old, they had to do the same thing. So I made a little video and put it on LinkedIn. Do all of you know LinkedIn? Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I thought I'd have 100 people apply, and I would adopt 15. I have 1.5 million followers on LinkedIn. I ended up with 18,000 people applying for adoption. So now I've adopted, probably 400 people. It's a very nice program, which was inspired by this exercise. And the idea is you just give things to people. You give everything away for free, and if they can use it, great. And if they can't, you tried. and everybody's nice to everybody else. So that's the way the process works. Now, you're going to talk to your partner, and you're going to say, partner, why don't we keep it simple? And everyone online, you don't have a partner, so I want you to just do this yourself. If you're online, just write this down. If you're here, you can just talk to your partner. Pick one hero. Why don't we just start with one who's alive, a person you could contact, a real human being. You're going to say, here is the name of my hero. So if you're online right now, write down the name of this person, and then say, here is why this person is a hero to me. Here's the name of my hero. Here is why this person is a hero to me. Then you're going to say, what's one change I could make in my life to be more like this person who is a hero to me? What's one person I could make in my life to be more like this person who's a hero to me? So you're going to talk to your partner. You're going to say, here's one person who's my hero. Here's why they're my hero. And here's one change I could be making to be more like this hero. If you're online, you don't have a partner, just write down the name of the person, why they're your hero, and how you could change to be like them. For all of you here though, to your marks, get set, talk to your partner. Go. Talk. What? Yeah. 2 minutes. Okay, we're only going to take 2 minutes. Good. No, is this guy your hero? Okay, and all of those of you online, be thinking, who is my hero, why, and how can I be more like that hero? Now, for the people here, do I have a mic so I can talk to people? Okay, now let me find some people, and if I call on you, talk to the mic. This guy's a good one? All right, so I want everyone to listen. What's your name, sir?
Turkey.
Who's your hero?
My hero is
Talking to the mic.
Prince Saud.
Why?
Because he teach me everything يعني, about my life and how to contact with the people, how to work, everything يعني, in my life.
Okay, very good.
Huh.
All right. Now, let's see, who has a hero that maybe is not quite so famous? Just more of a regular person. Who's your hero?
My hero is the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman.
I would say a regular person.
Yeah,
Pick a hero who's not a crown prince, just a regular person. Wait, I got one. Just a second. Here you go. All right, sir, who is a hero to you?
My hero is my father. My father.
Your father. Now, why is your father your hero?
Because my father is leading by example, and what I think I need to follow my father is how he treated his sons. I should treat my sons the same way.
Now, very good. So your hero is your father, and the learning point is to be like my father. I should treat my son in the same good way my father treated me. So all of those of you online and those of you here, think of a person you can contact now. And what I want you to do after the program is contact that person. And you know what you're going to say? I went to a program and I was asked a question. Who are my heroes? Of all the people in the world I could have picked, I picked you. Here is why you were a hero to me, and here is how I would like to be more like you. Now imagine you're his father, and you got such a note. How would you feel? You would feel very good, very good. So it's a very nice exercise for helping you recognize another human, a real person, who's made a positive difference in your life. Now, the other thing about the exercise is this. When we talk about the exercise makes you think about your values. So why did you pick this person? Well, because it makes you think about what's important to you. What are your values? Well, that's a good clue. That's who you should aspire to be in life. In the same way, this exercise, I wanted to be like one of these people. A lot of my life has been spent in a positive way trying to be like them, to try to be nice to others in the same way they were nice to me. So this is a wonderful exercise to help clarify what's really important in your life, what really matters, and what can you do. Now, next, what do you need to have a great life? Well, to have a great life, there aren't that many factors. One is take care of your health. The biggest study ever done in terms of quality of life is a study done at Harvard. They had poor people, they had rich people. 3 generations of research. They studied what's important for having a great life. One of the important factors is health. Take care of your health. Easy to think about, not easy to do. How many people in the room have ever avoided a physical examination before and told yourself, I'm going to get the examination after I go on the healthy food diet and after I begin the exercise program? Yes, yes. Did we trick the doctor? No. Who are we kidding? It's very hard to look in the mirror and deal with issues involving our health. It's very, very hard to do this. So the first thing for having a great life is take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and realize this is not easy. When I get to the daily questions part of the program, I'm going to talk about things related to you can tie into your health. The next thing is have great relationships with people you love. Never get so busy climbing that corporate ladder of success, you forget about the people that love you. In this study that Harvard did, very interesting, they asked people, why were you happy in life? And they studied people who were more satisfied and less satisfied with their lives. One of the key factors is people who are more satisfied with their lives had positive relationships. Now, one thing I learned in this study that I never thought of, it wasn't just the big relationships. It was the little relationships. They were nicer to the people at the checkout stand. They were nicer to the people at the checkout stand. They were nicer to the people at the gas station. They were just nicer to the people around them. So I've thought about this. Why would that be related to your own happiness? I thought about this. Why? My friend is Martin Lindstrom. Martin Lindstrom is the world's authority on branding. He's taught me many things. One of the things he taught me is the value of mirror neurons. Now, what does that mean? In our minds, we feel what we see. If we see sorrow, we tend to feel sorrow. If we see joy, we tend to feel joy. I think one of the reasons people who have these positive relationships with all the, quote, little people around them have happier lives is because if I'm dealing with you in a positive way and he smiles, how does that make me feel? It makes me feel better. So very important to be thinking about positive relationships with people around you and the fact that we influence people, yet it's like a circle. It all comes back to influence us as well. Now, for those of you that have kids, I'm going to help you with one thing. Many entrepreneurs and family businesses fall into this trouble. They want their kid to be in the business. And daddy comes home every night and complains about how miserable he is. And then they wonder why the kid doesn't want to be in the business. You know what the kid is thinking? I don't want to be you. Why would I be you? You're miserable. Well, if you want your kid to be in the business, don't tell your kid how miserable you are every night. Japan has a whole country of people who've done this. Every night, dad would come home drunk, working all the time. talking about how miserable they were, and they wonder why the kids don't want to be them. Why would they want to be them? Very, very important. Now, the next thing is take care of your health. Money. Let's talk about money. Money is much less important than you may think for having a great life. Most of you probably have the fantasy, the dream, that if I had more money, everything would be okay. And almost no matter how much money we have, we always think if I just had more, just a little more, it's going to be okay. Study after study after study has shown this. There's a very low correlation between money and happiness. Once you get beyond a kind of middle-class income, more money's not going to make you happy. You think it will. Statistically, it doesn't. Over COVID, I had the privilege of working with 60 brilliant people. And these are not a secret who they are. Their names are in my book. The president of the World Bank, the head of the Rockefeller Foundation, the basketball star, the football star, the Broadway star, the head of the Olympic Committee, on and on and on. Amazing, amazing people. Probably 3 or 4 were billionaires. There's almost no correlation between money and happiness. I've worked with billionaires who are incredibly happy and billionaires who are incredibly miserable. So you have some dream now that if I make more money, I'm going to be happy. Not really. Not really. Happiness doesn't come from that. Once you get beyond where you are now, it probably won't make much difference. Now, what does matter? Assuming you have a middle-class income, assuming you take care of your health, and assuming that you have good relationships with people you love. What else matters? 3 things. 1, you need a higher aspiration. Why am I doing this? Many of you work very, very hard. Now, here's one change I've seen in your government over the years. You people work hard. 30, 40 years ago when I came, I've been coming here many years. 30, 40 years ago when I came here, people in the government did not work as hard as you work right now. Not that they're better or worse people, they just didn't work as hard. The people in the government work hard now. Well, you need to ask yourself a question, why? Why am I doing this? What is the higher level of aspiration? Why am I working so hard? Next, our ambitions. Our ambitions are what we want to achieve. And you need to connect what you want to achieve with your higher level of aspiration in life. So these two need to be aligned. And then finally, our actions are what we're doing now. These are our immediate activity. Now, the next question, what are you waiting for? What are you putting too much focus on? Some people are lost in their heads. They can value ideas, they can forget about people, they can forget about enjoying life. Unfortunately, many leaders of human service organizations fall into this trap. They love humanity. They can't stand human beings. They love the theory of humanity. They just don't like real humans. Well, some people are lost in that phase. Most humans over history are lost in the action phase. They're focused on immediate pleasure, gratification, being happy in the moment, and that's kind of where they're stuck. Now, what I'm going to say next is very important if you have kids. 25 years ago, I wrote an article, and I made a prediction. I said within 20 to 25 years, media addiction will surpass drug addiction and alcohol addiction combined as a social problem. We are there. Media addiction around the world is a complete and unmitigated disaster. In the United States alone, the average kid that is flunking out of school spends 55 hours a week on non-academic media. Are any of you familiar with a video character named PewDiePie? PewDiePie. You know who PewDiePie is? 290 billion hours have been spent watching this guy. Not million, billion. People aren't even playing video games. They're watching him play video games 290 billion hours. This is a disaster. Now, I'm going to help you. What's coming up next is going to be worse, much worse. I'm working on my video bot. Why? I know how bad this stuff is going to be. I just want to get some good out of it. Artificial intelligence has the potential to make your kids into total addicts. The artificial intelligence will understand exactly what they want, exactly what makes them excited, feed things back to them, and create a loop that is very hard to get out of. My friend Martin Lindstrom is working on something called the metaverse. He's doing the biggest study in history about the metaverse. Wearing the goggles, going into another world. Today, it's very primitive. It won't be primitive forever. Companies are investing billions of dollars in this stuff. And a lot of kids that go out in the metaverse psychologically won't come back. Why? They're not going to live a real life. Very important point. If you want to have a great life, live your own life. Live your own life. And you need to help your kids with this. You want to have a great life? Live your life. Don't live PewDiePie's life or some sport character's life or Kim Kardashian's life. Live your life. Now, the people in this room, though, your problems tend to be not number one, aspiration or action. Most people in this room, you have a different challenge. Your problem is more addiction to achievement. Now, what does that mean? Addiction to achievement. Achievement sounds like a good thing. It's kind of good. Here's the problem with addiction to achievement. As you go through life, you confuse two terms, happiness and achievement. And we begin to believe I will be happy when I achieve something. When I get the money, when I get the status, when I get the promotion, when I get the BMW, when I get this, when I get that, when I get something else. I will be happy when. That is the Great Western Disease. Very important point. Happiness and achievement are independent variables. Achievement is important to achieve. Happiness is important to be happy. They're not the same thing. Everyone I coach is a spectacular achiever. Some are very happy, some are not. One of the guys in our group was a young man named Safi Bakal. Safi said, he's a scientist, I finally realized happiness and achievement are independent variables. I said, Safi, I'm glad you realized this, because he was not particularly happy. I said, you already have a PhD in physics from Stanford. You've started 4 companies, which are hugely successful. You've made hundreds of millions of dollars. You've written a New York Times best-selling book, and you've consulted to presidents. If that's not enough achievement to make you happy, do you really think a little more is going to make any difference? He said, you're right. Be happy to be happy and achieve to achieve. Last night we had dinner. Nice young man at dinner. I won't mention his name. Very high achieving young fellow. And I asked him a question. On a 1 to 10 scale, on the average day, what score would you give yourself on the answer to this question? Did I do my best to be happy today? You remember his score? 3. 3. 3. Now, by the way, this young man, good looking, smart, accomplished, on paper, everything. 3. 3. All right, we're gonna quit. We're gonna quit guessing who the young man is. Okay. 3. Now you're gonna talk to your partner, and if you're online, just write this down yourself. I'm gonna ask you a question. On the average day, what score would you give yourself on this question? A 1 to 10 scale. 10 is high, 1 is low. Did I do my best today to be happy? Did I do my best today to be happy? 1 to 10 scale, what score would you give yourself? To your marks, get set, go! Talk to your partner, and if you're online, just listen. What do you think? What? How about you? 7. What about you? 10. Learn from these people. Okay, stop. Now, for those of you here, I'm going to ask you to raise your hands. And for those of you online, you can just think about this. How many of you scored below a 7? Yeah, many people. Yes. The average score in the world is about a 5.5. My guess is the average score in this room would probably be about the same. The average score in the world, 5.5 out of 10. Now, I've got a suggestion for all of you. If you learn nothing else today but this, you're going to have a happier life. You know what my suggestion is? Raise the score. Raise the score. The question doesn't even say, were you happy? Did you try to be happy? Raise the score. Now, every day, life is what it is. And many of you don't know this, but we're all going to be equally dead here. I don't know if you're aware of that yet, but this, yeah, I'm a little closer to this than you. I was working with 3 of the most brilliant people I ever met in my life. Dr. Jim Kim. Dr. Jim Kim, simultaneous medical degree and PhD with honors from Harvard in anthropology, head of Partners in Health. He went on to be president of Dartmouth College, then Dr. Jim Kim, president of the World Bank. I'm Dr. Jim's coach. Dr. Raj Shah, head of the United States Agency for International Development at age 37, now head of the Rockefeller Foundation. Dr. John Noseworthy, head of the Mayo Clinic. Not stupid. All medical doctors. All 3, I asked this question. On an average day, 1 to 10 scale, how would you score, and did I do my best to be happy today? All 3 independently had exactly the same answer. What was it? It never dawned on me to try to be happy. I never considered trying to be happy. I was too busy achieving things. Now, they're all medical doctors. So I said, did it dawn on you you're going to die? Did you figure that out in medical school? They all said, yeah, they figured that part out. They covered that in medical school. I said, do you think this is a silly question? They said, no, it's a very important question I forgot to ask. So one of your challenges every day is when you wake up in the morning, you tell yourself, today, no matter what happens, I'm going to do my best to make peace with it and be happy. No matter what happens, and by the way, the question doesn't say you were. Did you try? Did you even try to be happy today? Now, the next thing is there's a great story about marshmallows. Do all of you know this research about the marshmallows? Very interesting research. They take these kids at Stanford and they give a kid 1 marshmallow. And they say, kid, if you eat the marshmallow, you get 1. Oh, but if you wait, 2 for you. So they have this research that shows the kids that wait have better lives and achieve more than the kids that eat the marshmallow. So the learning point of all this research is delayed gratification is good. Delayed gratification is good. Here's the problem. They did not take the kid that had 2 marshmallows and say, kid, wait some more. 3. Wait some more. 4, 5, 10, 100, 1,000. Where does the story end? An old man sitting in a room surrounded by thousands of uneaten marshmallows. Sometimes you need to eat the marshmallow. Sometimes you just need to eat the marshmallow because if all you do in life is called delayed gratification, you know what you get a whole lot of? Delay. You know what you don't get much of? Gratification. Now, if you're here, you're going to talk to your partner, and if you're online, I want you to write this down. In your own life, what's 1 marshmallow that you maybe have avoided eating that you need to eat? What's 1 thing you need to do now in your own life? Maybe it's a small thing, just because you enjoy it, not because it's going to help you achieve something. Go, talk to your partner. Talk. And if you're online, write this down. Okay, stop. Now, whatever that is for you, do that. Now, I have a question. We're approaching a holiday, is that correct? Couple of days off? What's that? Tomorrow. That's what I thought. Now, you know me, I can be very strict. I'm going to be very strict with all of you. For the next 2 days, you are going to do your best to be happy. Is that clear? How about you?
Very much easy. Stop today.
Very good.
What time?
Great enough.
Very, very important as we journey through life, you all work hard. You need to connect your achievement to your happiness and meaning in life. I'm not saying you shouldn't achieve. Achievement is good. You're going to work on achieving anyway. You need to connect your achievement to happiness and meaning. I was just teaching at a school. To get into colleges today is ridiculously difficult in the West. It is amazing. I got a PhD from UCLA. This year at my school, UCLA, the freshman class to get in, 165,000 applicants just to get in the freshman class. 165,000. Very difficult to get in. As hard as it is to get into UCLA or Harvard, there's one school that's much more difficult to get in than either one. The hardest school to get in the world, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT. The hardest school to get in by far in the world. I just taught a class at the IIT. First, I thought no one's going to show up. Some old man talking about life. These are a bunch of techie kids. No one's probably going to show up. The place was full. Then I thought they're not going to pay any attention. They'll think this is just nonsense, some old man babbling about life. As I spoke, I talked about this achievement and aspiration and why am I doing this? 10 of these young people just broke down and cried. They just started crying. They've never had a life. They've never had a childhood. Their whole life. 1 out of 500 applicants got into that school. The kid didn't get in. Mommy and daddy got in. That kid has been pushed. And their whole dream was, once I get into this school, my life will be happy. They got into the school. What happened to the level of competition? Does it go down or does it go up? It only goes up. Now, one of my clients was Albert Berlin. Albert, the CEO of Pfizer. I called Albert about a year ago and said, Albert, how was your year last year? Oh, he said, a good year. Came up with that vaccine, saved a few billion lives. Good. I said, I took that. Very good, Albert. Good job. Employee satisfaction in the company, all-time high. Stock price, all-time high. Everything, all-time high. I said, Albert, fantastic. What's your problem? He said, I have a huge problem. Next year. Next year. Do you think the people that bought that Pfizer stock here care what he did last year? Nope. Next year. Now let's see. Do any of you report to this guy? You do. You, a couple of you report to him. Let's imagine you achieve every goal this year. You two guys, ready? Every goal above target. Let's hear it for these two. Yay! Above goals. Yeah, on it. Say applause, applause. Yay! And what are the odds my friend over there is going to say, okay, boys, take a break. Next year, we're going to lower the goals. Is this going to happen? And let's say, and by the way, let's say your entire group achieves goals. Is Mr. Bandar going to come back and say, take a break? no, relax. Well, here's the point. It's important to achieve, but don't make your value as a human being that. For two reasons. One, you don't control everything. And two, it's only going to make you happy a short time. You're going to have to go for next year, next year, next year, and next year. Now, as we journey through life, important to connect your achievements and your hard work with happiness and meaning in life. Connect what you're doing with happiness in life and meaning. And if we look at this, I made a matrix: achievement, happiness, and meaning. You're all working hard and you're all trying to achieve. That's good. 5 boxes. Box number 1 is called surviving. Surviving, this is, I don't enjoy it. It doesn't make me happy and it's not too meaningful. And all of us spend a little time in that box. Well, to the degree you can, I've interviewed lots of people and asked a question. What word comes to your mind when you think of that box, surviving? The word chores. I don't like doing it much. It doesn't make me happy. Well, to the degree you can get rid of that part of your life, you're better off. If you can delegate, find someone else to do it. Stimulating, we talked about that with your kids. This is dangerous. The stimulating box is, it's fun, I enjoy it, and it's not meaningful. I teach at the Dartmouth Tuck School of Business. The kid that drives me back and forth flunked out of school. He spent 25,000 hours of his life, 25,000 hours playing a video game called World of Warcraft. 25,000 hours. You can literally get 2 PhDs in 25,000 hours. He played a video game and flunked out of school. Well, that's stimulating. A little of that stuff is good. Too much is not good. The next box is sacrificing. It's important. I don't enjoy it. And the same thing, if you spend your whole life there, you're kind of a martyr. Sustaining is in the middle. And the key to having a good life is succeeding. What is this? To the degree humanly possible, I enjoy what I'm doing and it makes me happy. Now, I've surveyed a few thousand people and I ask a question. What percent of your life is spent in each of those boxes? The surviving, at work, 14%, at home, 11%. Stimulating, not surprising, a little more at home than work, 21 as opposed to 15. Sacrificing, a little more at work and home, and then the other two about the same. What did we learn? There's an incredibly high correlation between scores at work and scores at home. Now, what does that mean? People who are miserable at work tend to be miserable at home. Now, if we study something called employee engagement, the message is your happiness and engagement is a function of work. If that's true, why are people happy at work, happy at home? Why are people miserable at work, miserable at home? Well, a lot of it has nothing to do with work. It has to do about us. Spending time with people we love, highly correlated with overall satisfaction. Now, I studied that. I asked why. But that didn't make much sense to me. At home, but surprisingly at work, you don't spend work with people you love necessarily, so why would that be correlated with satisfaction with life at work? Well, I did a study about this. One reason, if we have people that we love, the work is more meaningful. You're not just working for yourself. You've got kids, a family, parents. Your work becomes more meaningful. And the only positive correlation is that succeeding, just increasing short-term happiness does not increase overall satisfaction at work or even at home. So, finally, Peter Drucker, the greatest management thinker in history, taught me this lesson. He said, our mission in life is to make a positive difference, not to prove how smart we are and not to prove how right we are. This is very, very difficult. Do I have any engineers in the room? Engineers? Yes, a few engineers, yes. Do I have any electrical engineers? Even worse, electrical engineers. Now, I have a degree in math, which is almost as bad. My electrical engineer, have you ever journeyed through life looking for logic and been surprised because you haven't found it? Has this happened to you in the past? It has happened. Have you ever pointed out to friends and family members that their comments were illogical? Have you done this before? And do they love you because of this or in spite of this? In spite of this. Well, it's very hard for engineers not to be right. Why? You always think about life as there right or wrong answers, and we just get lost in trying to be right. Our mission in life is to make a positive difference, not to prove how smart we are and not to prove how right we are. Next, I'm going to teach you about credibility, and then we're going to do some research with this group, so be ready to test yourself. Online, I won't see your scores, but at least I can talk to people here. Credibility, the quality of being convincing, believable, and trusted. Now, we all want to be credible. We all want to be convincing. We all want to be believable, and we all want to be trusted. So credibility is good. We all have a need for approval. If you do a Google search under need for approval, it's listed as a psychological disorder. Well, our ancestors, we all had to have approval in order to survive. As a modern professional, you've had to prove yourself thousands of times. There's nothing wrong with having a need for approval. Here's the question. When is proving yourself a good idea? And when does proving yourself do more harm than good? When is proving yourself a good idea? And when is proving yourself doing more harm than good? Now, my most important lessons. Number one, if you learn nothing but this, you're going to have a happier life and be better at influencing people. Are you ready? Point number one, every decision in life is made by the person who has the power to make the decision. Make peace with that. Not the smartest person, a fair person, a good person, or the right person. Whoever has the power to make the decision will make the decision. My friendly electrical engineer, not necessarily the most logical person. Decisions aren't made based on logic. They're made based on power. Number two, we're here on earth to make a positive difference. If I need to influence you, and he has the power to make the decision, there's one word to describe him, customer. There's one word to describe me, salesperson. Customers never have to buy. Salespeople always have to sell. Customers never have to buy. Salespeople have to sell. Even Minister Bandar, he comes into this job. He comes from a business background. Welcome to the new world. He's not in a business now. He's an organization. He can't just tell people here what to do and how to do it. He has to build relationships across the organization. That's the way it is. The decision maker is whoever has the power to make the decision, and sometimes it's more than one person. You got to sell. So the jobs like these people are in, they have to sell. That's part of their job. Why? They can't just tell people what to do and how to do it. They have to involve people. They have to sell. If you need to influence the sales, you're a salesperson, sell what you can sell and make peace with what you can't sell. Sell what you can sell and make peace with what you can't sell. Do not waste your life getting upset about something you're not going to change anyway. We're here to make a difference. Only focus your energy on, am I willing to do something about this? Now, the credibility matrix, I'm going to test all of you. Are you ready? Two dimensions. One, am I trying to prove myself? And two, is this going to help me make a positive difference in the world? The first box is called letting go. This is a very good box. Letting go. What does that mean? I am not trying to prove myself, and it's good that I'm not trying to prove myself. Very positive. Letting go. One of my good coaching clients retired a few years ago. His name, J.P. Garnier. J.P. was the CEO of a big drug company called GlaxoSmithKline. I asked J.P., what did you learn about leadership as the CEO of this big company? He said, I've learned a very hard lesson. My suggestions become orders. Now, I said, if they're smart, they're orders, and if they're stupid, they're orders. If I want them to be orders, they're orders. And if I don't, they're orders anyway. My suggestions become orders. I asked him, what did you learn from me when I was your coach? He taught me one lesson. He said, you taught me one lesson that helped me be a better CEO and have a happier life. I said, what was the lesson? Before I speak, breathe and ask myself, is it worth it? For 9 years, I trained the admirals of the United States Navy. What's the first thing I teach them? You get that star. Your suggestions become orders. The higher up you go, your suggestions become orders. What did you learn from me? He said, breathe. Before I speak, ask one question. Is it worth it? Not just, am I right? Is it worth it? Are we ready? I'm going to give you a case study. You want to go to dinner at restaurant X. Your wife, husband, or partner wants to go to Y. You have an argument. You go to Y. It was not your choice. The food tastes awful. The service is terrible. Option A, critique the food. Point out our partner was wrong. This mistake could have been avoided if you listened to me. Option B, shut up. Eat the stupid food. Try to enjoy it and have a nice night. What would I do? What should I do? Almost all my clients, what would I do? Critique the food. What should I do? Shut up. How many people in the room have ever critiqued the food before? Smart or stupid? They all critique the food. Oh, now wait. There's a new thing I haven't taught. This is called critique the people sitting in the room. Yeah. Oh, now wait. Look up here. You see what she's doing? Now she's pointing the finger at you. She's Let's hear it for her. Very good, very good. So don't critique the food. I was teaching my class. I gave another example. Are you ready? I bet half of you have done this. You had a hard day at work, a hard day. You go home. Your husband, wife, partner, friend is there. The other person says, I had a hard day today. If we're not careful, what do we say? You had a hard day. You had a hard day. Do you have any idea what I had to put up with today? You think you had a hard day? We're so competitive, we have to prove we're more miserable than the people we live with. I gave this example to my class at the Dartmouth Tuck School. A young man raised his hand. He said, I did that last week. I asked him, what happened? He said, my wife looked at me. She said, honey, you just think you've had a hard day. It is not over. Well, the next time you try to win an argument or prove you're right, just breathe. What am I winning here? Is it worth it? Now, letting go. One of my greatest coaching clients ever is named Alan Mulally. Probably the greatest corporate CEO in the world in the last 30 years. He went to Ford. The stock was $1.01. He left, it was $18.40. He had a 97% approval rating from every employee in a union company. Amazing man. When Alan went to Ford, he had a rule. He knew that business about my suggestions or orders. If an employee would ask him for an idea, you know what he would always say? Is there anyone in the Ford Motor Company who can answer this question better than I can? Or can we hire somebody who can answer the question better than I can? Then he had said, if the answer is yes, why am I talking? Well, if you're not the expert and someone else is, don't talk. Don't pretend to be the expert. Don't fake it. Don't talk. Let go. Now, the next box, my most famous book is called What Got You Here Won't Get You There. When we try to prove ourselves and it's not worth it, winning too much, adding too much value, proving how right we are, we often fall into these traps. The next box, though, is underselling. That means I should be doing a better job of proving myself, and I'm not. I'm holding back too much. Now, there's not a right answer, but you're all going to have to answer a question. Now, this one is a forced choice. Back to your good comment here. Everybody's got to vote sometime, including you. Are we ready? Everybody's got to vote. Is your natural tendency to oversell, promote yourself and your ideas too much, or is your natural tendency to undersell? Don't promote yourself and your ideas enough. Okay, talk to your partner. Tell your partner, what's my answer? Oversell or undersell? Go, go, talk to each other.
الو. هو يبغى الحين انكم تقعدون مع بعض تتكلمون تشوفون هل انتم طبيعتكم مثلا انكم تمدحون نفسكم اكثر من اللازم فادائكم يكون عادي، ولا من النوع اللي انتم ما تحبون تظهرون يعني نقاط القوة حقتكم دائما؟ ايش الغالب عليكم في الحياة؟ يعني الاول اوكي، مثلا في ناس كذا وفي ناس بالعكس من النوع اللي ما يحبون انهم يمدحون نفسهم كثير، فأنتم الغالب عليكم في حياتكم إذا تذكرتوا إيش اللي يغلب عليكم في التصرف؟
Okay, everybody's going to have to vote, oversell or undersell, and you have to raise your hand one way or the other. Is your natural tendency to oversell, try to promote yourself too much, or undersell not enough? How many of you would say, my natural tendency would be oversell?
الأوفرسيل يعني تسوقون لنفسكم أكثر، تمدحون أكثر.
Okay, so you. Oversell?
طيب oversell?
I'm not saying all the time, just your natural, more likely. If you're going to make a mistake, which way? More likely oversell, a few oversells. How many would say, if I'm going to make a mistake, it would be I tend to undersell. Don't sell it.
Undersell. I think
Now,
most.
everybody's going to raise their hand sometime. Okay.
مرة
Oversell
ثانية.
or undersell? Pick one.
اثنين. أنت.
Under.
هذا اثنين.
Under. We actually have a few more under than over. What would you say, over or under?
For me,
Yes.
undersell.
How about you? Under. Now, I'm going to give coaching to both groups. First, my oversellers. If your natural tendency is to oversell, like my friendly electrical engineer, breathe. Breathe. Is it worth it? Is it worth it? Why am I trying to do this? And what am I trying to prove? You've taken course after course after course in your life with one goal, prove how smart you are. It's difficult to stop. So for my oversellers, breathe. Is it worth it? Why am I trying to prove this? And especially at home, why am I trying to prove other people are wrong? Why am I in this stupid argument? Do any of you have teenage children, by the way? Teenagers. Have you ever attempted to prove the teenage child was wrong on a minor point? Yes. How'd that work out? No. Let go, let go. So everybody look up here. Breathe. Is it worth it? If it's not worth it, let go. Everyone look up here in the room, smile. I want everyone to smile. Smiling, smile, smile, smile. You can do better. Smile. Smile. I want everybody to take a deep breath. Now I want you to do your hands like this, the hand. Hand. Let go. Let go. In life, win the big ones. All those little ones, how about proving yourself all the time? Let go, let go. Now, let's talk about my undersellers. Undersellers. We have our are we ready? You're under. How many of you are undersellers now? Okay. Now coaching for you. Would the world be better off or worse off if you became more influential? What do you think? Better. Better. And you think you'd be with her too, right? Better. A little better or a lot better? A lot better. Very good. A lot better. You ready? Just promoting yourself and trying to become more influential will make you feel uncomfortable sometimes. Yes, uncomfortable. Oh, feels uncomfortable. Very bad. Question 3. What is more important to you? Your personal comfort or making the world a better place? It is. Well, then don't brag about it. There's nothing to brag about. If you want to make the world a better place, guess what? get uncomfortable. And if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, don't complain because the world isn't a better place. You're not doing anything about it. So in our lives, it's not good to sell or undersell. Final one. Before you deal with any topic, ask yourself this question. Am I willing at this time to make the investment required to make a positive difference on this topic? Am I willing at this time to make the investment required to make a positive difference on this topic? If the answer is yes, do it. If the answer is no, smile, let it go. Let it go. As you journey through life, don't worry about the things you're not going to change. Just focus on the things you can change. How about all those stupid arguments you spent time winning? Let go, let go, let go. If you are willing to do it, do it. If you're not willing to do it, make peace. Don't waste your time, though, in the middle. Don't waste your time. Make sense? Very good. Yay, very good. Now, empathy. What I'm going to talk about next is empathy. We talked about this last night in my meeting with the ministers last night. Empathy. One of the guys was having a lot of problems because he had to fire somebody. So we talked about empathy and what that means. Empathy is our ability to understand, feel, care about, and act on others' thoughts and emotions. Sounds good. Empathy. Up until I was 70 years old, I thought this was just a good thing. We're kind of taught empathy is good. Now that I've grown older, I realize empathy is sometimes good and sometimes does far more harm than good. Now, we tend to mirror what we see and feel in others. When we see sorrow, we feel sorrow. We see joy, we tend to feel joy. And we also tend to create that in others. We often think of empathy as, how do they make me feel? We often don't think, how am I making them feel? What loop am I creating here? How am I making them feel? Now, 4 phases of empathy. The first one is called understanding. What does this mean? I understand where you're coming from. I understand why you're doing what you're doing. And I'm a coach. This is the one I would score the highest on. I'm very good at this. I've been trained year after year after year on this. I'm good at this one. And that helps me be a good coach. On the other hand, this can lead to problems. Why? We can make excuses for people. Well, he's not performing, but I understand why he's not performing. All of a sudden, now the standards start going down. We can start making excuses. We can set the bar lower, not challenge people. The empathy of feeling. What does that mean? I feel your joy and I feel your pain. Sounds good. I understand you better if I can feel your joy or your pain. Sort of good, sort of bad. One coaching client I'm very proud of is the head of St. Jude's Children's Hospital. In the United States, a very, very famous hospital, biggest charity fundraiser in the country. One thing he taught me when I worked there, all these children are dying of cancer. You're around children dying of cancer. The first thing he taught me is never cry in front of the children. Never cry in front of that child. Why? I'm a poor little child. I see you and you start crying. How do I feel? I feel like a monster. I make people sad. I make people cry. There's something wrong with me. What did he teach me? You never cry in front of that child. It's good to feel other people's joy or pain to a point. One of my other friends is also the CEO of a children's hospital. He said the first 2 months he was a doctor, he went home and cried every night. Every night he would go home and cry. You know what he had to learn? If I'm going to be in this job, I can't do that. I cannot do that. He has a wife, he has kids, he has a family. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to them. Well, it's good to feel, and it's good to be able to let go of that feeling too, and don't carry it around with you. Next is the empathy of caring. Well, that sounds very good. I care about your benefit. You think, how could that be anything bad? An amazing story in my book about the empathy of caring. This is from, of all people, a hedge fund manager. Now you think if anybody doesn't have a problem with caring too much, it's a hedge fund manager. All they care about is money. It's a stereotype. I'm watching two hedge fund managers talk. One is worth $1 billion and the other one is worth $3 billion. The billion guy is interviewing the $3 billion guy. And he says, why'd you not have a fund? And the old guy says, because I started caring. When I was young, I didn't care. I took risks. I did all kinds of stuff. If I won, I won. I lost, I lost. Now that I'm old, I started caring. I became more conservative and less effective. Well, it's good to care to a point. You have a mission in your organization. When that gets in the way of your mission, not so good. And finally, the empathy of acting. Be careful not to solve other people's problems for them. Now, we're going to wrap up with what I promised. The final thing, yes. Wait. I can't hear you. Here you go. Okay, go ahead.
My question is, how is it different than sympathy? How is it different than sympathy?
Sympathy would be more like the empathy of caring. That's more like sympathy. The empathy of understanding, you may or may not be sympathetic. The empathy of feeling, you may or may not be sympathetic. So sympathy, like the empathy of caring, can do more harm than good. And by the way, some people as a parent say, I'm only as happy as my least happy child. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. Why? If you're unhappy, what happens to your child's odds on being unhappy? They start going up. So sympathy is good to a point. It's just not good to too much point. Now, final story on empathy before I wrap up. A young man taught me about this, was an actor on Broadway. He played the role of Aladdin in the play Aladdin for 3 years. Every night he played the role. I asked him, how do you do it? He said, every night I have to show empathy. I have to fall in love with that actress every night. I have to pretend to be enthusiastic every night. Every night I need to show this empathy to the audience. I said, how do you do it? He said, when I was a little boy, I went to a play like this. And I was small and people beat me up and I was kind of sad. And there was music and dancing and singing. And I was so happy. He said, every night I go on the stage, I tell myself, this is for that little boy. Every night I go out there and I say, if there's one little boy in the audience, this is for you. This is for you, little boy. Well, it's important when we think about empathy, don't just think about how do they make me feel. Think more about how am I making them feel? Not just how do they make me feel, how do I make them feel? Now, the daily question process. Are we ready? As I promised, I'm going to teach you something that takes 3 minutes a day, costs nothing, and help you get better at almost anything. It's hard to do, though. It's called daily questions. Here's how it works. Get out a spreadsheet. On one column, write down a series of questions that represent what's most important in your life. Friends, family, colleagues, etc. Every question must be answered with a yes, a no, or a number. 7 boxes across, one for every day of the week. You fill it out. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. At the end of the week, you get a report card. I've been doing this for 25 years. I will warn you in advance. The report card at the end of the week is not as beautiful as the corporate values plaque you see on the wall. If you do this every day, you will learn very quickly life is easy to understand and life is hard to do. People ask me if I have a coach. I've had someone call me on the phone personally almost every day for 25 years to help me. Why? I'm too cowardly to do this by myself. I'm too undisciplined to do this by myself. I need help. And it's okay. We all need help. Every day. 25 years. Yes, every day. Why? I need help. This is hard. If you think this is easy to do, you've never done this before. If you've done this, this is not. By the way, your friendly ministers, how are they doing? If they don't have somebody pound them over the head, they're not going to do this stuff. This stuff is hard, right? Now, I'm going to share some of my, by the way, the people we all need help. Look at the people I coach. If they didn't need help, why do they hire me? We all need help. Who are we kidding? How many of us have that stuff you've been telling yourself you're going to do for 20 years but haven't got around to it yet? You really think you're going to do it? Admit you need help. You won't do it on your own. You're not, it's okay. Just we all need help. Now, I'm going to share some of my questions, and they're not intended to be yours. Are we ready? One of my questions every day is, how many times yesterday did you try to prove you were right when it was not worth it? I don't see too many zeros for me. It's kind of hard for that old professor not to be right all the time. How about my young electrical engineer here? Do you ever try to be right just a little bit too much? Every now and again. Yeah, we'll fill it out every day. It's embarrassing when you start doing this every day. Another question is, how many angry or destructive comments did I make about people yesterday? I don't see too many zeros for me. We do not want other people to stab us in the back. Oh, why are we stabbing them in the back? Look at my guilty training and development people there. Oh, guilty looking faces. I see those faces. Oh, yeah. How many steps did I take? How many push-ups? How many sit-ups? How much do you weigh? Did you say or do something nice for your wife, your son, your daughter? Just questions about life every day. Now, my friend would tell you this saved his life. Why? One of his questions, are you current on your physical exam? First 90 days he did this, he said, no, every day. He finally said, I got to get the stupid exam or quit asking. He got the exam. Doctor said, you have cancer. This many years ago, he's going to be fine. The doctor said, had you waited 7 more months, you would have been dead. He knew he should have got the exam. He just didn't do it. You hold a mirror in your face every day, it's hard to hide. It's very, very hard to hide. Now, my daughter taught me something that's very valuable called active questions. Now, I'm going to make your life even easier now. Are we ready? I'm just going to give you 6 questions to ask yourself every day. If you do nothing based on all our talk today, but ask yourself these 6 questions and evaluate yourself every day, you're going to have a better life. This is hard to do. You know why? It's embarrassing how bad we are. It is embarrassing when you actually do this stuff. One of my questions every day is, did you do your best to set clear goals every day? Easy theory. How many days have you woke up, some email, phone call, get busy, you go home, your wife says, what'd you do today? And you know what the answer is? I don't know. You don't even know what you did. How many of us have ever had that day before? Yeah, we just got lost. Every day did I set clear goals. Every day did I make progress toward achieving my goals. Every day did I do my best to be happy, find meaning, build relationships, and be engaged. Every day, evaluate yourself on these questions. And that last one, did I do my best to be fully engaged? Harder at home than at work. Harder at home than at work. Why? When we go home, we often just check out. Let me give you a simple guideline. Don't use your cell phone in front of your children. Don't use your cell phone in front of your children. If you do, what message should you give your children? You're not as important as this. Very important. When you go home, am I being the father I want to be? Am I being the mother I want to be? Am I being the husband or wife I want to be? So every day, am I being the person I want to be at home, not just at work? Now, our research on this is pretty clear. 34% of the people that do this every day said, guess what? I get better at everything. 67% said I got better on 4 things. 91 said I got better on at least 1. 9% said no change. And less than 1% said things got worse. Why? Every day, these 6 questions get me to focus on the one thing I can control. What's that? Did I do my best? You can't blame someone else. Did I even try? Did I try to be happy? Did I try to find meaning? Did I try to be engaged? to build these relationships, did I do my best? Now, finally, would you like to have some questions? Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so we have some questions from the people online.
Talk so everyone can hear you.
I think you can hear me, right? So some of the people online, they asked a question about when you said that money is not really important. How can I make that because most of my problems, the answer is money. So how can I put that in mind?
I did not say money was not important.
Yeah, that's what
So
they,
that's a misquote.
okay.
I did not say that. What I said is an increased amount of money seldom increases happiness.
Right.
In the United States, for example, there was a study. One group of people won the lottery and just won millions of dollars. The next group of people became quadriplegic, could never walk again. 3 years later, they did a study of how much happiness changed. The answer was for both groups, not much. Not much. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't try to make money. Making money is fine. On the other hand, never believe that I'm going to be happy when I get the money, the status, the BMW, the condominium, when I get called His Excellency. Oh, after that, it's all good. Minister, then it's all good after that. Not really. Not really. Look at the people I coach. They're all rich. Some are very happy.
No, some of them are not. Okay. Another question is, do you suggest that a person should find a life coach for their own in order, or I can do this on my own?
Well, I can't do it on my own, and
Okay.
I am a life coach.
Okay.
Let me give you a suggestion. I can tell you one thing to do that's very inexpensive. Get a friend to do this with,
Okay.
or pay somebody. For a few years, I paid somebody. $10, they call me on the phone and ask me questions. This isn't rocket science. See, here's the problem. We need something to keep it in our heads. Okay, why is this hard to do? It's hard to face the reality of our own lives. Why do I have to have someone call me? It's embarrassing to do that. I wrote the book. I actually know the theory. I happen to write the theory, right? I know the theory. It's hard. It's hard. You think I'm any different? I've got 11 million frequent flyer miles on one airline. This stuff's hard. It's not hard to understand. It's hard to do every day. Anything is better than nothing.
Okay. So let's see. Let's choose the last question. This person asks twice. Can a future version of myself be considered my current hero? Like if I wanted,
I like that.
Yes.
Yay, so tell this person I like that. That sounds like a great
Okay,
idea.
so that was asked by Sagir al-Rabi'. So good job, Sagir. Good question.
Okay, are we?
I think, yeah,
ready to wrap up?
yes, they want us to
Okay,
wrap
is
up.
everybody ready? The
Yes.
final advice. Everyone look up here. Final advice. Everyone look this way. Smiling. Smile, 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 smile. Breathing. Hand. 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 Get the hand. Go. Hand. Not the head. Hand. I want you to imagine you're 95 years old. 95. You're just getting ready to die. You're on the deathbed. Right before you take the last breath, you're given a beautiful gift. The ability to go back in time. The ability to go back in time and talk to the person in this room. The ability to help this person be a better leader. Much more important, the ability to help this person have a better life. What advice would the wise 95-year-old you, who knows what mattered in life and what doesn't matter, what's important and what doesn't, what advice would that old person have for the you that is sitting in this room right now? You want to say anything, do anything?
Just think about
What
it.
advice would that old person have for you? Whatever you're thinking now, do that. In terms of a performance appraisal, that's all that matters. You don't have to impress anybody else. You impress that old man, that's enough. You don't impress that old man, you made a mistake. Some friends of mine interviewed all folks who are dying. I got to ask the question, what advice would you have? On the personal side, 3 things. Theme number 1, Be happy now. Not next week, not next month, now. Last night I was talking to this young man. You know, he said, easy for you to say, you're rich. I said, I'm rich. I said, I got millions of dollars, sold millions of books, have a wonderful life. He said, easy for you to say that. You know what I said to him? I'm 74, you're 38. You give me the 36 years, you want the money, kid? It's yours. You want the books? You give me the 36 years, how about the books? You can take all the books, right? What I told him is, you think you want to be me? Really? You want to give up 36 years? Don't get so busy looking at what you don't have, you can't see what you do have. Learning point number 2, friends and family. As I said, never get so busy climbing that ladder, we forget about the people that love us. And number 3, if you got a dream, go for it. Because you don't go for it when you're 36, you may not when you're 86. The business advice is much different. Number 1, life is short, have fun. You're working all the time anyway, you might as well enjoy it. Number 2, do whatever you can do to help people. The main reason to help people has nothing to do with money or status or getting ahead. The main reason to help people is much more important. The 95-year-old you will be proud of you because you did, disappointed if you don't. If you do not believe this is true, interview any CEO who has retired and ask him a question. Please tell me, what are you proud of? None ever told me how big their office was or how much money they made. All they ever talked about is the people they helped. The final advice is also saying, go for it. Your country is changing. The world is changing. Do what you think is right. You may not win. You know what? At least you tried. Old people, we don't regret the risk we take and fail. We regret the risk that we fail to take. And finally, what's my mission in life? Very simple. My mission is I hope something I said today will help you, not some theory or abstraction, you as a real human being have just a little better life. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this informative talk. Thank you, everybody attending here and on telecommunication for your active questions. For now, we have a little gift presented to you by the Royal Commission. Thank you so much for what you offered. Yes.
And what is this?
You can open it. You can put that.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. شكرا يعطيكم العافية يا جماعة.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, wait. All right. Thank you. Hey, by the way, if anybody wants to take a picture as a reminder, come on down. Thank you so much. Yeah.